in that movie.
PG-13, you get one fuck.
But they said dick. Like he was typing it.
I don't even know.
It's insane. He would put on shows like a sideshow at a carnival, bring people in and electroshock dead bodies to make them move.
Yeah.
That inspired Frankenstein.
Where the fuck do I get my tickets?
Wow.
Yeah. And then,
I don't want to go.
and then
Look at this guy. I'm so proud of him. Witcher outfit. It's beautiful. He's like, oh shit. All right, hold on a second. I see Eddie had to go next door to get his hat.
yeah, man.
He's like fucking Fred Durst with a Kango.
Let me get a sponsorship.
Sponsored by Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, why not?
The Shelby family.
Yeah. They're doing prequels to everything, so they might as well do a prequel to Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, there's no new content anywhere.
Yeah. Just make the Puerto Rican version. El Piquio Blinders.
I can't touch that one. Not in 2021.
Oh man, fuck that shit. We're gonna fix this political correctness
Sure.
with political incorrectness.
We are us three. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. We're single-handedly going to save the United States and the internet.
Yes, because we clearly represent the whole of America.
The whole demographic.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Everything.
Absolutely.
all the Pacific Islanders are all represented here.
Listen, that's how we do it. We're innovators.
Okay.
All right, Eddie, start it up. Welcome to the Sofa Kingdom podcast with your host, Nelson.
Ian.
Ed.
All right. I think today we're going to dive into a little bit of that sci-fi, some spaceships, aliens, body snatchers.
That's science fiction for you fucking posers out there.
That Firefly that Ian keeps refusing to watch.
I
watch
have no
it.
idea why. Bro, did you watch it yet?
I haven't watched it. I acknowledge its greatness. I know that every science fiction fan puts it as like a cornerstone of the genre.
Yes.
But because you guys constantly want me to watch it, I'm never going to watch it. That's just how it goes. That's just, I can't.
What we're going to have to do is
That's one thing we don't do here. We don't conform, right? We don't fucking fold for anyone.
We're going to have to do like an intervention where we're we just lock them in a room with TV screens everywhere and one of those devices that hold your eyes open and just fucking force them to watch.
Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, Firefly.
Okay. Stanley Kubrick my ass. All right. Got it.
For friendship. That's why we'll do it. Yeah.
Well, what are friends for?
Yeah, that's right.
If not to psychologically torturing each other.
Exactly. Impose your will upon them. What, you haven't seen this movie?
Yes.
You're a bitch.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
That's right.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I will tell you this, guys. I went to see Venom 2. No spoilers.
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
I have seen it.
You have seen it? Oh, I have seen it. I thought it was really good.
He snuck out without saying anything about getting tickets.
Good, really? Oh, okay. Well, that's a good brother right there.
I figured I wanted to have the movie theater all to myself. You know what I mean?
All right.
And hold over him the fact that I seen Venom 2.
I thought it was good too.
I thought it was good. I thought it was a little campy, a little corny, but fun, right? Because it kind of modeled itself after the first one, where it's nobody took themselves too seriously. There was a lot of banter between Venom and Todd Hardy or Eddie Brock, and it was silly, but it was funny. The action was good. Even Woody Harrelson leaned in hard on it's a little corny. He's he looked like a pool player.
I thought he did all right with the Cletus Cat. I mean, he was okay.
Yeah, I thought he did good. I know
I was excited about that role. I was excited to see him as Cletus Cassidy. That was
And did it deliver?
It did. I mean, they did Carnage really well. I think they may have missed the mark a little with the PG-13 rating. I think if you're gonna do a Carnage movie, you go
R.
Yeah.
R. Yeah. Especially if you're keeping Spider-Man out of it.
Bro, I was surprised. When I left the movie theater, I was like, this has got to be a rated R movie. They said dick and fuck 100 times in that movie.
PG-13, you get one fuck.
But they said dick. Like he was typing it.
I don't even know if 2021 if dick's a swear word anymore. I mean,
That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe the bar has been pushed. They're like, eh.
Hey, we're living in the Megan Thee Stallion era, man. Things have changed.
There's literally numbers on how many times you could say each thing, and in the way you're using it as a reference also makes a difference.
So they were definitely pushing the bar on that PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
I would like to see over the top violence.
Yeah.
Carnage. I mean, it's just he lives up to it. It's his name.
And they did it tastefully. Like, they did the violence in a way that, like, a kid younger, you know, could go in there and watch it. Nothing grotesque is happening, but there was still, like, it was a nasty fight scenes. Things were happening.
All the good parents were out in force at my movie as well. And I saw the row of 7-year-olds file in.
Yes.
I was like,
they're like,
great
not
family.
this movie, not this one. And as a matter of fact, I have a little story to tell you about what happened to me during this movie experience.
I like story time.
It was a family of 8. You know who you are. It was an extremely large man, like Bam Bam Bigelow large.
Ooh, tattoos and all? We got
like straight up Loxahatchee camo motherfucker.
Bald or mullet?
Mullet.
Damn.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Damn.
That's fantastic.
Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream.
He had a bunch of young kids
Rest
with
in peace.
him, and he tells them, he warns them ahead of time in the movie. He's like, hey, listen, before the movie starts, I need you guys to sit in your seats. I got you your drinks. I got you your candy. Everybody behave. And I could tell right now he's looking at just the one little motherfucker in the front. And he's already getting up. He's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom. I need candy. I need a drink. And his father's like, I got you everything. Sit down. He sat the older brother next to him. The movie's going. The kid gets up. He's like, Dad, I need another candy. He's like, please sit down. Sits him down. And like this guy is talking to his daughter like out loud, not whispering like, yeah, so that's a good part in the movie. And then the 2 girls sitting next to him, his daughters, whatever, family, they had their phone taking pictures and selfie the whole fucking movie. Here I am sitting there and I'm just trying to like, just focus on the movie. And then the kid kept getting up and kid kept running around and the father kept getting up and yelling at him in the movie theater, not saying anything too crazy, parenting. And then at one point the kid gets up and he's like, I gotta use the bathroom. He's like, hold it in. The kid sat back down. He's like, I gotta use the bathroom. And the father's like, shut the fuck up and sit down. Now here's a 40-year-old man and like a 5-year-old child in the movie theater. And he's like, everybody's there. Shut the fuck up. My wife sitting next to me starts laughing out loud. I'm like, you can't laugh at that. But we did. And I think everybody in the movie theater wanted to clap. You know, just a little bit. Maybe even like, hey, hit him. We don't care. We'll look the other way.
Nobody saw nothing. We're watching the movie.
Yeah, fucking brat.
Exactly.
But it made the movie experience just a little better. Yeah, it definitely
Now, I couldn't help but think that if you'd have like waited for your brother and you guys would have coincided on a time, like maybe you wouldn't have been in that theater at that point in time.
This is true, and we wouldn't have had the great experience we did. You know what?
Okay.
In the future, I will leave him out of things. Thank you, Ian.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
So
I
caring
tried.
of you. Thank you.
I tried.
Yeah. How about you, Ed? Anything new?
I'm still actually playing Hades.
I told you.
It's a fantastic game. It's a type of game I actually don't like these types of games. I don't like. It's deliberately hard to get through the game, but every time you play through, you get a little better. It's a roguelike game. So every time you go through, you get a little more power, a little more this, a little more that. But a lot of times,
sounds like too human.
A little bit.
Okay.
A lot of times I don't like these games because the story, it doesn't move with you. It doesn't really hold up. This one, since you are playing the son of a god, you're playing the son of Hades, and you're dealing with all the gods, dying is his forte.
Right.
That's
it's a part of
doesn't affect anything.
The mission or part of the story.
So it's not like you die, you go back to the beginning, and you're playing the same story. Every time you go through, there's new dialogue. So I'm at 100+ runs, and it's still new fucking dialogue. Yeah. There's still story options I know I haven't opened up.
Because you have to get better. You have to increase your relationship with each character, right?
Correct. Yeah. So I can see spots where like I can still get more out of this character.
So is it one level you play through, sort of?
Well, that's the other thing. The levels shift. So every time you're going through the dungeon,
choose a different path.
Yeah, you can go through different paths, but the paths also change.
Gotcha.
So you do have similar levels you go through, but which one you land on through and which people you fight along the way changes as you're going through the game. So even which abilities you get as you're going through is different every time you're going through.
I've never seen a game with replayability like this. Like,
It's
insane.
ridiculous.
Well, that's why I said like Too Human, and I don't know if you've ever played it.
I have not played it.
It's sci-fi-esque, but it's based on the Greek gods, I believe it is, right? Like Zeus and Balder and all of them.
Yeah.
Well, wait. Balder is Norse
mythology. Okay, so then it's
Bible.
yes, because the Norse tree. Yeah, the tree of life is in there.
Yggdrasil.
And it's like 10 levels, but you replay them and
don't-
you unlock armor.
You don't
and-
really get into the things that start opening up in that game
Right.
until you beat it once.
Right.
And it's almost similar to Hades, where like you beat it and it's still going. It's
And
still
the
going.
game gets
it's still
more
going.
difficult with you as you're progressing your character.
Yes.
So it was a really dope game that went nowhere because of the production team behind it overspent
Yes.
what they were initially allotted to create the game,
Gotta
and
love it.
then just
Yeah,
shit the bed, basically.
they didn't really. It seems like they didn't understand how to use the Unreal Engine. They had issues, and then they blamed the developers of the game engine for the issues they were having. But they essentially, at some point, they ran out of money and they couldn't quite. So there's parts in the game that you could see that they intended
Right.
to do more with, and it just literally completely just drops off.
But to the people that played the game, like I spent hours upon hours playing that game, and I enjoyed it. Like it was just redundant, but in a good way, and very challenging, and just it was an enjoyable game. So I'll probably give Hades a shot.
Yeah, I would give
you know?
because like I said, I don't like roguelike games. I don't like playing games multiple times. I can count on one hand the number of games I've played a second time. But I've played the game, I finished the game, and I am still playing the fucking game.
It's good.
Cool. What
good.
about you, Ian? Anything new for you?
I have something really new for me, but it's not something I watched or read or anything.
Oh shit! What
I
is
am
it?
actually, for the first time in my life, I'm trying Sober October. I'm trying it.
Nice. All right. Sober
I'm trying.
October.
I've never done this. No substances or anything. I can't drink. I can't smoke a ganja. I can't do none of that. Not until October is over.
I can
And
tell you look younger already.
thank you.
Yeah, man. All right.
Dude,
yeah.
some asshole tried to tell me that I had to stop caffeine and energy drinks. I was like, wait, pump the brakes. He literally tried to say, he's like, no, it's a mind-altering substance. I was like, you can go fuck yourself. I was like, no, I'm in the middle of semester. There's no way I'm going to stop coffee. There's no way.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting feeling, you know. I just
Tell a
got,
medical student they can't have caffeine.
absolutely, it's not happening. I mean, I just got back
People
from
are
the Keys.
falling over on the gurneys. Nobody's.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck
Yeah.
that, man. If I had some energy, I'd pick them up.
I'd pick him up. No, I just got back from the Keys. It was actually interesting going to the Keys, watching everybody else around me participate in the debauchery. And I
Yeah,
was
you
just,
could see. Oh shit! That could. Well, that usually is
It
me.
could be me. It could be me. And I woke up. My bank account wasn't as damaged. I didn't feel
Nice.
like shit. I didn't need an IV to bring me back to life. you know?
Nice, nice
It was
BJ
great.
pen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I went for a run today in Key West. I ran around the whole island, 7.2 miles.
How many bums chased
good.
you?
None. Actually, but surprisingly, the bum population was dramatically low in Key West, which
Really?
I thought would have been. I mean, if I'm homeless, I'm going to Key West.
Right? Do you think it's a sober October factor in there?
I don't know.
They're like all these sober motherfuckers. Nah, we'll get out of here.
nah,
I think
we're outta here.
they get washed away every hurricane season. I think
Yeah,
that's what happens.
So they're all in Cuba right now. Okay, got it. Okay.
Fucking Fidel, man.
Yeah.
He's always up to no good.
As soon as he left, all the homeless came in.
Yeah.
Or did he leave? Did he leave?
Oh man. So I tell you what, guys. I think today's episode, when we talk about sci-fi, we could talk about it from like a pop culture standpoint, or we could talk about it from things that basically, you watched growing up as a child that maybe had an impact on you as an adult, because I know that each one of us in different capacities had shows or movies from sci-fi that just kind of like felt like, man, I would love to be a part of that universe. Whether it's Star Wars or Star Trek or Aliens, which I don't want to get chased by aliens.
No.
I, as much as I love the whole alien genre, I'm not. I don't want to be a part of that universe.
Yeah,
at all.
that's a hard pass participating in that.
Yeah, I'm happy with a life with no xenomorphs. in
Yeah,
it.
man, that whole life of like, we're gonna put you in a tin can, shoot you out into space.
Yeah, and then a face hugger is going to attach itself to you, drop an egg into your gut, and then later a chest burster is going to explode. We're good. I'm good.
Hard pass.
Yeah, no space colony job in my future.
No,
not
thanks.
To me, if I would travel in space, it would definitely be in Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
because they had the hologram room.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You could be anywhere you wanted to be.
It looks pretty
any part of
comfortable. It
time.
does look
Like,
comfortable.
yeah, they had some nice times. I mean, they were getting shot at and invaded and
Yep.
occasionally murdered if
And-
you were
Yeah.
wearing a red shirt.
And let's
Oh,
be
yeah.
honest, that hologram room glitched a lot,
it did.
and it caused a lot of fucking
Because
problems.
these motherfuckers were fucking with the parameters, okay? That's the first thing I learned about Star Trek. Leave the computer alone. Don't fuck with the parameters.
It's
you
like,
know?
how do they not have a mobile EMT device that whenever it goes bad, it just fucking shuts it off? That's it. Seems
Listen,
like a quick solve.
You need to call Gene Roddenberry
Yeah.
and have him
Get
fix
on
that
it.
shit.
Get on it.
Like
That's always the great divide there, right down the middle.
yeah, the safety's off and we can't get them and they got live bullets. Yeah, cool. Beep.
Yeah.
That's it.
So
Fucking
you-
done.
you-
Get killed by a simulation. That's some bullshit.
But you were saying the divide down the middle?
Well, the great divide down the middle is always like if you go to a sci-fi convention, it's always
Uh-huh.
like on this side of the room we have the Trekkies.
Yes.
And on this side of the room we have the Star Wars fans.
Yeah,
it's a
that's
great,
right.
great divide. You know, it's,
And what about you? Where do you fit on that in that divide?
in that particular divide, as much like Star Trek for me, I know that Kirk came first and all that,
Yes,
and that's
yes.
great. But like my introduction to it was Next Generation. That's when
Yeah.
I first started seeing Star Trek
so
on
you're
television.
the Picard.
I am a Captain Jean-Luc Picard guy.
And he was a
I-
great captain.
He was.
He was.
He was.
But he wasn't as manly as Kurt.
Fair.
Think
Kurt-
about it. Kurt
well,
was banging blue chicks,
and he
green
was
chicks.
fist fighting aliens.
He
you're
was
right.
fist fighting
he was a
aliens, yeah.
nutcase, you're right.
Yeah, like they
Um,
didn't have a decree. Like, you know, he was just out there like, we're humans. This shit is ours.
I was always more of a Star Wars fan because it's like, you know, the Jedi kind of like space samurai.
Yes.
They
Space
had-
magic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can just do things, but they can alter your mind. They can move stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah, and it was actually like Star Wars was derived from like a samurai feeling. I believe we were talking about it before. Like it was based off of loosely like samurai movies and cartoons, anime kind of a feel.
Even
to
the
it.
whole Force thing actually was based off of religions and things like that. Like when he created that world, he went real deep into making it really stick
right.
Yeah.
with the audience.
I like how he said it takes place in the past. Like he even says it takes place a long, long time ago,
Yeah.
just really far away. I think he
That's
did,
dope.
Yeah, George Lucas did a great job of just saying this is what I like,
Yes.
and I'm gonna do it.
And the world building is everything because
If
that's
you like it, cool, but I'm doing it.
right, right.
So-
The world building is what sucks people in.
Yeah.
And the bigger the world, and the fact that you have that epic good versus evil, and then this guiding force that controls everything, you know, I think a lot of people can relate to that. Whether you want to be, you know, on the dark side, killing innocent children like Anakin, or you know, like Luke Skywalker, defending
well,
the universe and kissing his sister.
And it's
Yeah,
it's so much.
He did that. That happened.
It's so much broader now. You used to get further into Star Wars, you had to go and start reading a bunch of novels that were canon but not canon, or sometimes canon, or now that some are canon again,
Yeah.
others are not canon.
Right.
But now you got all the TV shows. You got the Mandalorian. You got
Disney,
the anime
yeah.
that they just. I mean, Disney is going hard with
Yeah.
expanding that universe. So it's much more.
And rightfully so. It's a cash cow.
Yeah, it's much
Yeah.
more varied, you know, because when you had to compare them before, it was like, yeah, especially back when, you know, Star Trek was just Jean-Luc Picard and Kirk. It was, you know, 3 movies
Right.
versus season upon season upon season of television show.
Right. And that's what helped build the Star Trek
Yeah.
franchises. I think not only wasn't it just forced you to go to the movies to watch it, it was something you tuned in weekly. You watched it. And this is back when seasons were like 30 episodes. Like
Yep.
now a season's 10 episodes,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
They realized that, wow, hey, working these people 18 hours a day all year long is bad?
No, fuck that. I enjoyed it. I say go back to that schedule. I need more content of the good shit that I like. But even like the new Star Trek that they got out, Discovery.
Yep.
When you watch it, it's almost got like a Game of Thrones like feel to it.
The
It's
production
epic. The
on
production is
yeah.
off the scale. It's
I mean, when they
really
cut,
good.
when you cut back on the number of episodes, it does allow more room and time to film each episode, but also make each episode that much bigger.
Right? Yeah.
But you know, it makes the hits that much better, and honestly, the misses that much worse.
Yeah. And you know what it is too? I think for Star Trek versus Star Wars, you got the lightsabers in Star Trek, right? And you got the Force. So you've got this epic shit going on here, and then like John Lucas popping out, he's like, Computer, tell me 10 ways to kill this man. Set it to stun anyway. Bing.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like with Star Wars, there's more like science fantasy. And
Yes.
with Star Trek, it's more science. It's more.
Yes, yes. And
a
they
more
really
realistic
did
feel to it.
use a lot of science in the show, and that's what really helped give it more of a realistic feel.
Yes.
Like, this is plausible science
Yeah.
that they're working with.
Even the warp drive, the whole idea of the warp drive, and a lot of that was based on tachyon particle research that came out around the same year that Star Trek had started.
Nice.
So,
Which I'm still in disbelief is a real fucking thing.
Yeah,
Tachyon particles is a real
it's
thing.
fantastic because they went that far into trying to bring as much real science into it as possible. So the things that they talk about, for the most part, are things that theoretically are real, and
Right.
they've continued that trend throughout.
Even the stuff that wasn't real at the time, people watching those shows grew up, went into science, went into research and development, went into technology
Yep.
to try to build the shit that they seen as kids. You know,
Yeah,
there are
it's-
people that are working on, I'm pretty sure there's a realistic lightsaber right now.
There is one, you can find it on YouTube, and it is it's superheated plasma,
Fuck.
and it's fucking phenomenal looking. And it is horrendously dangerous.
Imagine dropping it and trying to catch it. Oops, no arms.
And it, yeah. I mean, they used it to cut through metal. It's absolutely an absurd device.
So when are they coming out with being able to beam people up so I can skip the fucking airport line?
Listen, even when they come up with that shit, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that is, the beaming people up is terrifying because there's various ways that they look at it plausibly working. One of it is actually breaking you down, but the amount of energy in all your particles is tremendous. So to break that down, you do need somewhere to store it to then send it.
There's no way it's you. Even
Yeah.
if they manage to put
Yeah.
all that shit back together, there's no way it's you.
And that's
Well, if they're gonna do that, at least fix me up when I come back. You know what I mean? That's
that's
10 pounds less. You know,
that's part of the problem is
you
that
fix my forehead?
fix my forehead.
some
Sorry, man. That's caveman genetics, bro.
Help me.
some of the other way they look at it is as being done is you would be scanned and then a new set of particles put together somewhere else. But to
Nah.
balance the equation, yet you're scanned, murdered, reassembled, essentially resurrected. So
Imagine
it's
dying 1,000 deaths.
yeah. I mean, it's almost like when they look at certain weapons in Star Trek that they consider banned, some of the disruptors and things like that. The part of the way they explain why it's banned is because it's such high energy, it causes the person to almost freeze in time and feel like they're disintegrating slowly over like a tremendous amount. So for everyone watching, it's like quick.
I like this.
But for the
Right.
person that's hit, it's essentially torture.
It's
It's
a slow
eternity.
death.
So it's like that's why those things are kind of not allowed. It's almost the
Right.
same reason why the Mandalorian's rifle is a weapon they don't allow, because it hits in a way where it looks quick. Except for that poor bastard, he might as well be in a black hole because time stopped and it's slow as shit.
Okay, so then if we're talking about transporting, then we got to talk about Stargate. I don't know if you've ever seen the show Stargate.
I saw
or
the movie.
Okay, so the original movie was fantastic, but it spawned generations of Stargate universe.
SG-1.
Yes, yeah. And I believe there was one more Stargate with the ship, but I can't remember it right now.
I'm drawing a blank on it.
But
Yeah.
they traveled through essentially, I guess, like a portal gate, which was like
Einstein-Rosen bridge, a wormhole.
a wormhole that would take
It
you
wasn't
to another
Andromeda,
planet.
was it?
Andromeda? Was that the...
Was that
No, that's Kevin Sorbo.
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it's too late. Don't do it.
Don't do it. No. That's all I'm
That
saying.
was probably the worst of the franchises that was created.
It was bad, and I enjoyed watching how bad it was.
Do you
I
guys
was gonna
remember
say the same.
Seaquest? You remember
Yeah,
Seaquest?
yeah,
With Roy
Seaquest.
Scheider? With Roy Scheider? That was great.
That was another one that was like right along there with Babylon 5,
Yeah,
which
yes.
was like when I had nothing else sci-fi, I was like, all right, I will watch it. And I seen it through to the end. Wasn't bad, wasn't great either.
Yeah, that's one that...
Farscape?
Farscape
Loved
I watched.
Farscape.
Yes.
To me, that's dark Star Trek.
Yeah.
And I almost hated it because of the Jim Henson Muppets that they had in there. But then I grew to love Nigel.
Yes.
Yeah, like he farted helium. Like the most ridiculous things you could think of, they did with this puppet, and it worked.
Yeah.
Um,
After a while, you forgot he was a puppet. You
Right.
really just watched the show for the show.
and I think it was
Yeah.
part and partial to the cast.
yes.
The cast really delivered on, like, this is a real atmosphere. Everything is real, the real people and all
Yeah.
this shit. And aliens, and it was really good, actually. I really liked Farscape.
What was like the real like adult themed one? Wasn't that like Lexx or something? There was another
Lexx,
sci-fi channel.
correct.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple, but it didn't
lot of
last
bald
very
people?
long,
No,
and
it
it
didn't.
almost
It
it
didn't.
almost disappeared from air completely. When
It
that-
looked like
when
it belonged on Cinemax. I was like, what is
Yeah,
this?
it wasn't.
What are we going for here? I was like, all right.
I might have to check it out.
Yeah. I'm sure the episodes are out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
But I think you can't talk about sci-fi without discussing James Cameron.
Yep.
And I'm
Fair.
really looking forward to Avatars 2 and 3, which I believe finished shooting. They're holding on to putting the movies out. I think he's really rallying for large box office numbers like he did with the first
Yeah.
iteration.
But the way he also takes a long time between movies. None
Right.
of his movies are like rapid succession. I mean, he builds new technology for everything he does.
But the success rate is amazing, right? Because when he puts something out, you're guaranteed that you're going to see something amazing.
You won't be.
I knew it.
You fucking bastard.
I knew he was waiting.
I thought you were looking for something clever.
James Cameron's also the king of the sequel. The
Oh,
king of the
yes.
sequel.
Yes.
He
yes.
literally takes what you did and he does the next one better.
Oh,
Like,
100%.
Ridley Scott does Alien.
Yes.
He says, I like this idea. He does Aliens much better at the box office. Whoever did Terminator.
Yes.
He goes in and says, I could do this.
I'm gonna make this better.
Terminator 2, arguably one of the greatest action movies ever
Melting
made.
liquid.
Yes.
Was that the one where the
T-1000,
Terminator, the
yes.
T-1000? I mean, you
even
can't beat that.
the special effects that they
He
use
may
in
he
there.
may have reused his special effects from The Abyss.
That's okay. Listen, we
It's
forgive it.
fake,
We
it's
forgive it.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but he also commissioned an Australian team to make a submarine for Avatar 2 because he wanted to make Avatar 2, I believe it's solely based or mostly based on the underwater part of the
Yeah,
Avatar world.
They were filming that
So,
all
and I
underwater.
wrote this
What kind
down
of
because-
nightmare that must have been.
He went to the lowest location in Earth in the Mariana Trench, 36,000 feet deep. And he did it. And he went
Why?
down there for 3 hours to record because he wants to use actual footage from the bottom of the ocean for Avatar.
It's some weird shit down there when you get that far down.
He took that whole Titanic shit like seriously, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a submarine for that as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Titanic 2 is coming out. Do you know that, right?
No,
No, I'm
you
just
can't.
kidding.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
kidding.
What are you gonna do now? What?
They're going to bring Leonardo back. Like, wait, this is Captain America. Wait a second. He's an icicle.
My favorite thing of Titanic is when the Mythbusters proved no, they could have both fit on the door.
Goddamn right.
Rose was a selfish bitch, and we all know that.
Oh,
We
yeah,
all know
yeah.
that.
Listen, she wanted that big-ass diamond.
She did.
And then she just threw it in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, because all that guilt, because she knew he could have fit.
Because the ghost of
on the
Jack was
goddamn-
haunting her every night because she fucking let him drown and freeze to death. That's ridiculous.
Shit, but next time, throw the picture away and keep the diamond.
Yeah.
What is it, the Heart of the Sea?
Poor Jack.
I never even watched
What
the
a
movie.
bitch. Yes, you
it
did.
looked-
You
it-
watched it. We all watched it.
No.
You watched it?
I
I watched
Titanic?
it.
I have
He
successfully.
cried. I didn't.
I have successfully
okay.
got away with not watching that movie.
So this is what we got to do. Intervention, Firefly. Intervention, Titanic.
Yeah, I'm skipping that.
I think I might be sick that day. Too.
You might be sick that day. All right, man.
I'm coming down with something.
Speaking of Firefly,
No.
I love the show. They're thinking about bringing it back to Disney Plus. They're not going to
Are they
bring
gonna-
back the old story.
Is it going to be a reboot or?
They're talking about a reboot, which I think would be the best way to go.
Yeah, 'cause
keep it in
they-
the universe with new characters. Don't try to rehash what they did. They're never gonna recreate.
Yeah, because the
that.
movie ended it, and
you
it's
can't- yeah.
it'll be. It's gonna be tough to try to match that cast.
Oh yeah, I mean the cast
It's really
was
it's
fantastic.
like I was telling you earlier before. It's really hard to catch lightning twice, and it's like what they're doing with the Cowboy Bebop
Yep.
live action.
Yeah.
When I found out, it was like it's not a retelling. It's kind of like a continuation.
Right.
I was like, you're gonna shit on me, aren't you?
Yeah, they're moving forward with the story.
I was like, you're gonna shit on me.
You know what'll happen is if there's enough success, they'll do the almighty prequel.
Let's
You know, like
I mean, let's be honest. Most of the
I just walked into a room. There's a mirror on the floor. A German lady just walked in black leather. I'm like, I'm gonna get shit on. I just have a feeling. Like, I know
it's a fetish party.
I know enough about the world that I know what's about to happen to me. I'm like, I'm gonna get shit on.
most of the anime adaptations to live action are pretty rough.
Garbage.
It's a tough watch. The most enjoyment you get is just that it's seeing in live action, because everything else besides that
So you didn't
is
love
pretty
Aladdin?
throwaway.
You didn't love Aladdin?
I haven't watched any of the Disney live action remakes.
They're
Actually,
not good. None of them
No,
are
they're
good.
not good. They're not good.
I try to like them because I grew up watching those cartoons, and then you sit down as an adult like, oh, this will be cool. And The Jungle Book was probably the worst violation of my childhood. There was actually a part in the movie where, like, the little wolf, I believe it was, or I forget what the animal was, but his head was sitting there. I'm like, this is a children's movie? I am appalled.
Yeah, the first live action I actually went and saw was the Beauty and the Beast one. It was okay. It didn't have the same effect.
Right,
It
yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
And then I started to watch the Aladdin one. Got like 10 minutes in when they were singing in the streets, and I was like, I'm done.
See?
I'm done.
Musicals.
I'm done.
Fucking musicals. It's okay.
It didn't have the same.
Agree
thing.
with it. Musicals. Fucking musicals.
Les Miserables is a good movie. Les Miserables is a good movie. No, the Lion King was actually one of the worst ones for me.
Yeah,
because I know it's not supposed to technically be live action, but it looks like a Nat Geo thing.
Yes,
so
it
like,
does. Yeah, yeah.
let's be honest. It's hard to top the animation of.
It is, and the
Kimba.
creativity.
It was
But
a
somehow-
true classic, especially when Disney remade it as The Lion King.
and didn't credit it at all.
This is some bullshit.
Kimba the White Lion. Look into it. Look into it. It's-
One thing that I back to sci-fi. One thing that I'm looking forward to is watching Star Trek Discovery, and I know you probably haven't seen it, but some of the newer technologies that they're showing, I'm like, oh, I hope they get into that shit. And like one of the things in particular is like they took the old badge there, and like instead of having computer, like you can hit it and then like a holographic display pops up in front of you, and then like you can like surf the web over here. I was like, oh, that's the kind of shit I need in my life, because you know, I'm not walking into enough trees with my cell phone right now. So I'm like, if I can hit this and I'm watching a show and oh, there's the game, and then bang, I'm in.
Netflix, NFL Network, just in your badge.
Yes.
Now there's a couple of new companies coming out with augmented reality glasses, where it's the idea is to hook up to your computer, so you have in the little corner your glasses there, a screen. A lot of it tends to be into industrial stuff, so like mechanics and things like that. So someone working on something that they work on but don't work on all the time. So like the manual could be pulled up.
Oh, that's cool.
And you can see it in the corner, and with what you're working on, it'll look over what you're seeing. It'll give you a display of, all right, that's this, that's this, that's this.
My only problem with it as an engineer working on things is it takes away from your peripheral view.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at multiple things and your hands in places, working with gears and components, you're going to get fucked up.
Oh, yeah.
Because you have to pay attention. Like, that's why I don't even wear jewelry.
Especially if you got like Brazzers and X videos like all in this corner, and then you got red tube.
Listen,
and like,
I'm sure there will be somebody skilled enough to pull shit off like
I'm
that.
just saying, why is he fidgeting on that machine?
Yeah, wait a second.
Yeah.
There's plenty of horror stories when lockout tagout procedures are not followed. We've known people where we work that have lost fingers because they don't turn it off. They grab a stick. Well, there's your finger, man.
I've seen some.
Good job.
I've seen some videos on the dark web of what goes wrong in factories when people aren't paying attention. So.
It looks just like the Jungle Book too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can.
I'm sorry.
You can look that
the
up
Jungle
yourself.
Book live action. Excuse me.
Sci-fi's so hard to encapsulate. Like you got your giants, like you have the Star Wars, Star Trek, stuff like that.
Right.
It's such a broad subject. Like for me, it's always been. I guess it's because when I grew up watching like in the 90s the Sci-Fi Channel and whatever they put on there. So
when it was an actual science fiction channel.
It's like MTV, right? They played music
at
and then
point.
they stopped playing
at one
music.
Point. They used to, believe it or not,
Yeah.
they did. Music was on that channel at one point.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's like Sci-Fi to me is like synonymous with like dark stuff because like
Yes.
to me, sci-fi was the Terminator. It
Yes.
was Alien.
Yeah.
You know,
Predator.
yes, it was literally that type of stuff that I would see, and that's why I always associated science fiction.
Then
with
it
kind of
became
creepy stuff.
Sharknado.
That's a whole nother rabbit.
But
hole.
just like all things,
Lava Lantula.
yeah, Titanoboa.
they grow and they separate and they become different things. But you're absolutely right. There is a huge part of like the horror sci-fi genre or a sci-fi like the Twilight Zone or Black Mirror, where there's a
Yeah.
darker side to technologies and
Yes.
things like that. And Black Mirror is fantastic.
They
I don't
touch
know
on
if
a
you've
lot
seen
of
that.
a lot of stuff that's very close to home. Where it's
Yes,
like we're not
some
far
shit that's,
away.
like, it makes you
from
like
something like that happening.
yeah, it's like the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones when you just sit there and you're like,
Oh, shit,
did
dude,
that
did
just
that.
happen? I was like, I can see that shit happening. Like the particular episode where like people would rate you,
Yes.
and then like your social rating would go down, and then people would not want to hire you, talk to you.
Yeah.
You're basically an outcast
Yes,
to society
society.
if you make the wrong decision, which kind of happens now.
it's very close to what's happening now, and depending on what country you live in, that is actually literally happening.
yeah.
And the whole part of the whole program, the way it works, is people report on each other, and you reporting raises you and lowers somebody else.
So it's like the abortion thing in Texas, where you like just rat each other out and
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
it's fucking it's
Good
wild.
stuff.
It's
yeah.
absolutely
stuff.
insane.
Yeah, let's hang out.
keep it up.
So for you, what would be your most impactful horror sci-fi?
I mean, most impactful, I'd probably say, is Alien, and it's just because if you look at all the stuff that it has in it, like one, it's futuristic.
Yep.
So there you go. That's a big thing of sci-fi is like what's happening in the world tomorrow.
Yes.
And it's got space in it. Another thing that which Star Wars, Star Trek, all is involved in. You have these colonists, and like in order to travel out into space, you have to go into like a sleep.
Yeah.
So it's a weird thing to think of that the ship is moving. They'll have like an android or something operating the ship while everyone sleeps in stasis. And when you wake up, everyone you know is probably dead or 50 years older because you're way out there and you're doing a
sick.
job for in the movie, it's the Weyland Yutani Company.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you're like way out there, but that they're supposed to be like investigating a space colony. They get there, everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Like
Shit is wild. You
and
don't
then
know
it goes
what's
into this
happening.
like alien parasitic thing, and this is before the whole Prometheus thing.
Yeah.
Like when you go down the Prometheus thing, the later sci-fi movie,
Yes.
you find out that the xenomorphs, the actual aliens, are like a weaponized, like bio weapon that was created by a higher race that wipes out
fucking wild.
existence. Yeah, I mean it's just.
What better way to wipe out organic life than with an
the
invasive species?
Yeah, and the first Alien was terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, you were stuck on this ship with this thing. You didn't know what the hell it was. You just knew it ripped out of this guy's chest after he got face hugged.
Hell yeah.
And now it's in the ship somewhere. And like they turned literally like a Game Boy screen into something scary. Like,
Oh, yeah.
when that dot would beep and start getting close to you, you knew it was your ass. You were like, where the fuck is it coming from? Like it's in fact that video game that was out, the Alien video game, the most recent one, it's literally you with no weapons just trying to survive on a ship.
Yeah, you're trying to find
that's
places
sick.
to hide.
Alien
and
Isolation,
shit.
that's what it's called.
Yeah, because it was a very
psychological.
suspenseful, psychological thriller.
You're
The
terrified of
movie-
that thing. Like you can't do
And
shit if
the
it finds you.
psychological ones like that, where it's all tension, fantastic. I'm not a fan of the gore horror movie type
Absolutely.
stuff, though. That
Yeah.
everything
Yeah,
started to
yeah,
become into nowadays.
Well, that's actually that kind of goes horror in some case. Some horror is a subgenre of science
Right.
fiction. Like you could say, like the Wes Craven's Nightmare on Elm Street, like that.
Yeah.
you know,
Sure.
those
Yeah, that
sleep
could fall
elements.
into like a sci-fi-ish horror kind of a genre.
Another one I forgot to talk about, and it's another dark science fiction gritty thing. Is it's in my opinion the greatest science fiction thing of our recent generation. And that's The Matrix.
Yes. Yeah. No,
Yep.
The Matrix
I mean,
is fantastic. That's one that makes you think. Like it has people like Joe Rogan, like we live in a simulation.
Yes.
I mean,
And who's to say he's right or wrong? But it's like,
and the beautiful thing is, if you were stupid, we could tell because you never got it.
yeah,
You never got it. Now
that's
you're
right.
a cute dumbass, aren't you?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Come here, little fella. Sit
And
here.
then bringing back The Matrix.
Yes.
The trailer was pretty.
Trailer
great.
looks amazing.
It looks like they're gonna do a good job with it. They're bringing back some of the older people. I don't think Morpheus is coming back.
No,
though, right?
Morpheus.
No, there was
Fishburne?
someone else
yeah,
that
Lawrence
was
Fishburne isn't in it.
clearly doing the Morpheus role, but I'm wondering if they've made the Morpheus role a program, just like
Yeah.
the Oracle was
Okay.
a program,
Sure.
and the Oracle's bodyguard was a program.
That's one way to
And
write out a
did you-
great
yeah,
actor.
Yeah, did you
And
see?
the-
Did you see Neil Patrick Harris in the trailer? Was that him?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I like
Yes.
Neil Patrick Harris.
I like
though.
him too, but listen, whenever they do this, and I'm all for it. I want to see. I want to see the Matrix sequel. I want to see it because it's been so many years since we had a Matrix movie. But I just don't trust it.
Yes.
I've had so many bad things happen to me lately with remakes.
Skepticisms. Yes.
I'm waiting for the German lady to walk in. Where are you at? Fucking I'm afraid I'm on HBO Max. I'm sitting there with my popcorn, and all of a sudden, like the movie starts.
Bro, this sounds like a reoccurring nightmare.
Exactly. 20 minutes in, the German lady walks through the door. I thought I was gonna have a peaceful night.
Oh shit! Yeah, man, you got to be careful with that, man.
With that German lady.
No, the Matrix, the Animatrix animated series, like what they're doing with Visions, where they gave other directors and artists basically whatever, to the ability to do whatever they want in that world. Was really good. I really liked the Animatrix. I thought it was deep. And
I like Visions too.
I do like Visions as well, especially the duel. The duel
first
to
one?
me,
The
the first episode was the shit.
That and the twins one.
The twins,
one
yes,
was good
the twins
too.
one was
That
good.
was
And then
another
there
good
was
one.
the other one where the young kid and his Jedi master fought like the crazy old Asian.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who was just waiting with his ship to just fight somebody.
Yeah.
that was a
good
pretty
one.
dope
That was a
episode
good
too. But
I thought you would like the music one, like the Jabba the Hutt concert one. That looks like it was right up your.
How dare you?
I
was the one that I hated the most.
Like
I
during
could have fell asleep watching that one. It was only 15
the
minutes.
concert portion, I was waiting for okay, now they attack. No, okay, now they
attack.
The
now they
episode
attack.
would have been better if Jabba killed them.
Yes, yes. Come
Yes.
on,
Boom.
like
Now
you
that's a
could have
good
added.
episode.
You could have added like 2 more minutes. Have them get attacked at the end of the concert, and they fight their way out. And I would have been happy. I would. Yes, he finally used the fucking lightsaber. It's
Yeah.
like
No.
what?
More music.
No,
It was a metaphorical lightsaber.
Oh, come on.
Fuck you.
Listen. Music never saves the day in reality. How dare you sell that?
Yes, that's right. Another reason
Wait,
they
wait,
hate
wait, wait.
musicals.
Didn't we find out in one of our recent episodes that Metallica possibly caused the crash of the Soviet Union? Did we find that out? Did we not find that out?
Okay, all right. So in
Harvester
that
of Sar
case,
live in
that would be
Moscow?
consider the exception to the rule.
Right. Music
all
may have
right.
saved people
It did.
sometimes.
It
you know,
did.
It did. You know?
No, just that time. Not sometimes.
That's
just
it? Just that time?
name another time music has saved anything.
The little drummer boy?
Next. No, I could have
I
done
don't
without
know.
that episode.
Devil went down to Georgia?
Maybe in Highlander. Here we are.
Yeah.
Born to be kings. That was a great show. It was great movies. Man, they could bring that back.
I'm
I
surprised
wouldn't be mad at
that they haven't tried.
We lost
to bring
Sean
it back.
Connery. I don't know. Who's going to be
Yeah.
Ramirez now?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's
Well,
another
listen,
dark one. Dark
they could-
sci-fi
no,
channel.
They could bring the guy that played Duncan to be the old mentor now.
They could.
It's long enough at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Wasn't he also the shittiest Raiden ever? What's his name?
I fucking
Oh my
agree.
God.
They haven't made a good Mortal Kombat movie yet.
No, they haven't. They really
They-
tried with this last HBO one, but
I was going in like, I'm gonna love this. This is gonna be great, and I was surely
See, I was
disappointed.
talking about
No.
I was talking about the other guy that was Highlander, the guy from the show, not
with
the
the
guy
black
from the
hair
movie.
and the
okay.
man bun.
no,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah. Actually, I think
He did have a man bun.
He did have a man bun.
buns.
He did
Attack
have a
on
man
buns.
bun.
Yeah.
But the guy in the movie, in the Highlander movie, he also played Raiden, and he was just dog
No,
shit.
it
Yes.
was bad.
He threw no
it was
punches.
really
yeah,
bad.
He threw
yeah,
no
that
punches.
wasn't.
And then the guy in Mortal Kombat Annihilation was even worse Raiden.
Yeah, no.
So I just,
And the Liu Kang. How the fuck you fuck up Liu Kang? Possibly the greatest Mortal Kombat character, hero. Like, he is their Luke Skywalker.
in the original one, it wasn't too bad.
No, it wasn't.
But
But,
the
in this one was
remake,
bad.
it was.
Even
They
the
made Raiden a wizard.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
it
It was
just-
so bad.
yeah.
Even the original Shang Tsung was better.
yeah,
And here's my. How the fuck do you go from a guy, this main character, this dude that they just. No,
I wasn't
not canon.
interested. in
Basically an MMA white belt.
gets his ass kicked. Gets his ass kicked in a local
Yup.
MMA fight.
Yup.
A week later, he fights fucking Goro, the
Yes.
prince of the Shokan, the winner of 9 consecutive Mortal Kombat tournaments,
Yes.
and beats his ass in a garage.
4 times his size,
What?
double the hands.
He gets a stupid ass Aquaman suit
Oh
with
my
like
God.
police batons.
It was
and just
so
beats
bad.
the shit.
It was so bad. He was
No.
basically
No.
Aquaman meets the big boss. What was that wrestler?
the big boss man.
The big boss man.
Yes.
It seemed like
Yes.
everybody had offensive superpowers, and his superpower was I can keep taking more of a beating.
Right.
Yes.
He was the Rocky of
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Luke Kang, they disrespected him so bad. He threw fireballs
did.
that did nothing.
At least
He
Kung
was so
Lao
shitty.
was a bad motherfucker.
Kano was the only thing that saved that movie.
Kano tried, but I
Yeah.
mean, Sub-Zero. Okay, Sub-Zero was badass.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero was badass,
Yes.
but then, I mean, they
And
turned
Scorpion.
They turned
Yeah.
Scorpion
It
into a
was
little
like
bitch.
the
They
opening-
made Scorpion and the new Aquaman
The
guy.
opening scene and fight, I was on board with that opening scene and
Yes,
fight, and then it just went
It
to
just degenerated.
Yeah. It was
I
just
agree with you.
All
Yes.
downhill. Yeah,
The
it was exciting
opening
in the
thing
beginning.
when Sub-Zero takes out the Lin Kuei
because
clan
even the
or whatever.
fight, even
I
the
was
fight
in.
later with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, again, I was like, all right, fantastic.
Yes.
But everything else in between
Just
was pretty trash.
It was
Just
missing
shit.
something.
Even
It was missing
Reptile, I was
something.
like, that's a weird choice for Reptile. Like,
He's a big iguana.
it really was. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen actually bigger iguanas in Florida.
Florida,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Did
they're
you guys? Okay. Did you guys see the video with the motherfucker catching the alligator in the garbage can?
Yes, it did.
That shit was fucking great. I'm like, one, you're a fucking moron.
Whoever you are.
Two, your family and friends hate your guts because they let you do that and they were recording.
And nobody stopped you.
No, nobody
Yeah.
stopped you. Not
stopped
a
you.
care in the world for your well-being at all. They were like, this is gonna get some great views.
yeah.
That's the society we live in now,
Yes,
man.
yes.
That's
It could have been a
where we're at.
musical.
It could have been. We could turn it into it. I know you're a big fan of this.
No, not at all.
No, but yeah, Mortal Kombat, they still haven't done it justice. And I've actually still talked to people who are like, I enjoyed that. I'm like, oh, yeah. I recommend other
Yeah,
stuff
that's
too. You know,
those are
just
the
sniffing
same.
glue.
Those are the same people that vote for someone and then later they still like, even no matter how shitty they were, they still like, yeah, that's my guy.
my
Either
guy.
side, I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying you
both
know
wrong.
who you are. You know, because if you vote for somebody and they start shitting the bed like that dominatrix, like you gotta say, hey,
You got to call it as it
I
is.
fucked up. You know what I mean? We're all adults here. We fuck up, right?
Some of us.
Yeah, some of us. Yeah. So what about you, Eddie? What would you say Aliens for him was the most impactful sci-fi
Probably, yeah.
genre movies and for him? What about you?
I think for me, it's gonna be Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it's pretty hard to ignore how much it's affected just daily life.
Sure.
Because and you do have a lot of people like,
Yeah. Cell
That-
phones,
that are very-
Alexa.
that are very Star Wars centric. But when you look at Star Wars, it's great, but it really hasn't translated into everyday life. Where
Sure.
when you look at Star Trek,
No pod racers.
yeah,
Yeah.
tablets,
That's a shame, actually.
phones, satellites,
Zoom calls.
GPS, all of these things
Yeah.
that even research now. You got it's a Mexican physicist, Miguel Aguilera. It's a hard
that
name
shit.
to pronounce.
Fucking
Bro,
yeah.
you're Puerto Rican and you can't say a Mexican last
Listen,
name?
I went-
Get out.
I listened to how his name was pronounced, and I was what the fuck?
Yes.
But he's
Miguel
he's,
A.
Miguel A.
He's researching warp drive.
Okay.
You have people researching tachyon particles. You have a lot of the stuff that's come out of because they went very into the science and
Right.
brought it as much into real science as possible, that a lot of people took that and really ran with it.
And you know what else the show did really well is it focused on the better parts of humanity.
And that was deliberate. Gene Roddenberry deliberately wanted, especially with Next Generation, he wanted to minimize conflict between characters and have the conflict be external.
Right.
So it wasn't that so it was like, no, we've gotten to a point where we have harmony.
Right.
And we're out there in ourselves that we have harmony within ourselves. Everywhere else we're going, we're running into, that's where we're running into the disharmony.
Right, because those people aren't as civilized or up to date technologically or whatever the case may be, and they're there to help them solve problems. But that's one of the things that drew me to the franchise as a whole for Star Trek was that whole like humanity's at its best. It's all inclusive. It's all accepting. And they're going out there. They're not afraid to fight. They're not afraid to fuck shit up. They're like, we're still humans.
Yeah.
We'll fucking go to war.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when you think about it, well, the Star Trek was in the 60s, right? So
Yes.
it's on TV in the 60s. You had the
1966.
first interracial kiss
Yes.
between Kirk and Uhura.
Yes.
Yep.
You had George Takei as Sulu.
Yep.
And it's actually a role for an Asian guy,
Yes.
Japanese George Takei.
Yes.
And it's not stereotypical or just blatantly racist, which
Yes.
Hollywood was excellent at the
Oh,
time.
yes, yes.
Excellent at the time.
And not only that, they didn't have them as background characters. They were like
They were
main
front and
bridge,
center.
front and center.
Uhura
Even like
was-
the Scottish engineer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They wanted to make it like, hey, we're taking people from all parts of the earth. Not only that, there was a documentary that came out with Uhura, who she had an actual involvement in the United States NASA space program in getting African Americans into the actual space programs. Like
Yep.
she played a huge role in that because she was like, yeah, it's cool that I'm playing this part on TV, but she's like, I don't see them in the actual field.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cool that, like, you know, fiction kind of plays a role in reality.
Yeah.
You know, and it did in many ways for Star Trek. It really did.
Yeah, even as a Star Wars fan, and like you see how big Star Wars is,
Sure.
I will honestly probably say Star Trek is definitely the most influential science fiction
Yeah.
work
Sure.
for our time.
Yeah, I would
Easily.
agree.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Look at the technology we've taken from it,
Yep.
and its impact on culture.
I mean, let's be honest. This last year, video conferencing became a real thing.
It
Like
really
it's always
did.
been kind of there.
It's real now.
It's
Yeah.
it's a real thing now.
So did pantsless motherfuckers on video conference calls.
it happens. It
Hey,
happens.
look, enjoy your life. You know what I mean?
That's
you
right.
only live once. But
What about you, Nelson? What
For
would you
me-
what would you say is the fucking most influential?
all right,
shit?
all right. When it comes to most influential, hands down, it's Star Trek. But since we've covered that, I'm gonna say what had more of an impact in my life or that I enjoyed the most.
Please don't say Firefly.
It's Firefly.
God damn it!
It was only 13 episodes. The dialogue, the setting, the show, like everything that it dealt with was like some of the shit that you would think would really happen. Like it was like Earth is the main hub, and then the further the outer planets got, the less shit you got.
it wasn't pretty. It wasn't glamorous. And you had planets that were like third world nations. You had planets that
Right.
were like first world nations, and you had those politics in between and everything going on.
Correct. And you had the hierarchy. You had the we're uber rich. We could do whatever the fuck we want, live how we want. And you're the poor living on the fringes of society. And like Malcolm Reynolds wasn't even like your typical hero. He was like, they were thieves. He had a crew of thieves, but his thing was the people on this ship are my family, and I'm going to do what it takes to take care of them.
So it's like Space Robin Hood.
It basically, yeah.
He had a ship, it had a cargo hold, and he had applications for jobs. What do you need moved?
Yes, yeah, and a lot of it at the detriment to himself and his fucking crew. And then they added another element where they took on these two passengers, brother and sister component, and one of the sister was experimented on as a child, who was this child genius who had all this stuff that the government implanted in her brain to make her the ultimate weapon that she didn't even know that she's unlocking as she's going, but in a very disturbed way. So like everybody on the ship just thinks she's fucked up in the head, but really as the show unfolds, you're like, oh, they did this to her. And so there was a little bit of compassion there as well. But she was a badass as well. So, you know, the show was really good. And then it culminated in a movie, a Serenity, which the fans were like making a huge fuss to bring it back, to have some kind of a resolution to the original idea, and it did it justice. It was pretty good.
It's got a huge following. I know that.
It does. And for such a short-lived show, it really had a huge impact to me as far as like, wow, this is what sci-fi is. It can take it in. It doesn't have to be like all lasers and lightsabers or tech, taking you into the future. You know, it's like this is more of a realistic approach.
Yeah,
with
they really leaned on, if we take the world the way it is now and we just expand upon it, being that the flawed that we are now, but we're on several planets and a system where we're varying distances away, but the closer you get to the center is the closer you get to first world nation.
right.
That's what they really did well in the storytelling.
And
in the
then
world
they
building.
had the other like horror aspect to it, actually, with the Reavers.
Yes.
So basically, these people that lived on the outs of space, like they called it the dark or the black, I believe it was the black. Yeah, and they're out there and they go crazy in space.
What do you mean the black?
Yeah, they go crazy in space. They mutilate themselves. They are cannibals, and they basically just attack other ships, raid them, rape, kill, eat them, and then keep.
Sounds like Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Yeah. But they keep like 1 or 2 people alive, and then they bring them into the fold, and that's how they expand their craziness. It's fucking dope. It's a really good show. So I would go with that.
Yeah. There's a lot of origins too with science fiction. I mean, we can go back to as early as, one of the earliest I can think of, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's a lot of science based in that.
Yeah.
Fucking people with pacemakers. There it is.
1818, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
I can't think of anything earlier than that.
And it was gothic horror, I think is what it falls under. Gothic horror science fiction. And she was inspired by scientific experiments in 1780s. Gentleman Aldini was experimenting on dead prisoners with electricity.
So our country was 20 years old.
So that was the first Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eventually, he did start using that for electroshock therapy, I believe, as well. But
This'll
he
fix
would,
them.
yeah, he would basically put on shows,
And that's what spawned musicals.
Fuck yeah. That was the first musical.
That was the first musical. Yeah.
I mean, when you read into it, it's insane. He would put on shows like a sideshow at a carnival, bring people in, and electroshock dead bodies to make them move.
Yeah.
That inspired Frankenstein.
Where the fuck do I get my tickets?
Wow.
And then,
I don't want to go.
and then some years down
Rob
the
Zombie
line,
show.
Frankenstein actually goes back and inspires some real science with a gentleman who creates the first portable pacemaker. So it goes from like sideshow to creating a book to inspire actual science further along down the lines. But if you
there you go.
you delve into
Thank you
like
very much,
everything
Mary Shelley.
around that, it's pretty insane.
And then, I mean, I guess like that's the first I can think of, and I'm sure there was other instances. But then you get to like, I think it was like the 30s. When was War of the Worlds written? That was another big one from early
Yeah.
date. Like, I mean, that when they announced that over the radio, I know there was some controversy when it happened this time. Like I think people actually killed themselves.
Oh yeah, they did, because they didn't tell people that
It was just a reading.
it was a reading,
Yeah,
right?
they
Yeah.
People
only-
thought we were being invaded.
They only announced it in the beginning of the program that they were doing with minimum commercial breaks, I believe. So it
made it more realistic.
So it made it seem more realistic. So
Shit.
commercials were being cut out, not normally played, and they were playing it as if it was real.
They fucked up a lot of people
Some
that day, I'm
people
sure.
really.
That's probably what spawned the whole UFO sighting epidemic after that.
So
I'm
now,
sure
I
there
think, now I think about it, there's a lot of horror. I mean, the first science fiction work
a
that we
lot
can
of
think
it was
is horror related.
was horror related.
Well-
yeah, because a lot of it was written. A lot of it was written.
When
It wasn't.
science goes bad, it's
It wasn't
fucking
until.
scary.
And I
I
think
mean-
that's what it was. A lot of people fear the advancement of
Yeah.
sciences and technologies, because even now, people are adamant that AI eventually is going to take over.
people won't get the vaccine because they think they're gonna have a
Oh,
tentacle.
yeah, oh, exactly. They're like, oh, I'm being followed. I'm
Yeah,
being
but-
tracked. Hey, bitch, you got a phone?
Yeah.
You're being followed.
Yeah.
You're being tracked.
Science fact is scary.
Microphone, camera, GPS. If they want, everything's right there.
But that brings me to
Yeah.
one of my favorite recent movies called Ex Machina. I don't know if you've seen
I
this.
have not seen this, but I've heard
It's
about
like science horror, but it's fucking good. It's just one of those movies where it's very realistic. Guy wins some kind of a contest, and he goes to stay at some like Elon Musk character's kind of house, and he's advancing AI technology, and he's there to interact with the AI, and he falls in love. Like, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't know what to fucking tell you.
it. Is there robot sex?
Yeah, yeah. So he falls in love with the robot because she is so advanced that she learns to manipulate him to basically free herself to get the fuck out of this compound.
This is giving me some vibes of what was that movie? Splice.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Where Adrian Brody fucks that weird alien.
Yes.
And that weird alien later fucks his wife. Check that one
Because
out.
that's what happens.
Spoiler alert.
Clearly, that's the way that
Yeah.
goes.
It's
Yeah,
really,
yeah,
the movie
yeah.
is like centralized around this
No,
plot.
but Ex Machina hits you on like so many levels. Even with the explanation of what happened, you can watch it and be satisfied and walk away from it like that's a great movie. But it touches
Satisfied.
on the fears of AI becoming so advanced that it can even outwit, outsmart, and then get into the real world and do its thing, blend in.
Elon Musk's biggest fear.
Yeah. I mean, he lobbied to put in place rules because of where he can see it going. And when that failed, he decided option 2 is create a pathway to become cooperative with it, which is his Neuralink, so you can increase the bandwidth of your communication with the technology so that there's a pathway of harmony within increasing technology, because they are now working on AI that can start making better versions of itself. So it's not built that yet.
Bad fucking idea.
But
Bad-
building something
bad
that can
idea.
improve upon itself.
So they're trying to create ones that can create better algorithms to create better versions of itself, because its limit right now is the method in which we teach it to teach itself. So if we could teach it how to teach itself better, you then start creating the stacking effect that it can create better versions of itself.
Who was the first, like, what's the first example in science fiction of like AI that is a threat? Like what? Like was it
Space Odyssey?
Was it Space Odyssey?
Probably Space Odyssey.
You think?
That might be it.
Yeah, I
When
mean
was
Space
that?
Odyssey 2021 was it? Or something like that?
Yeah,
But
was that 70s?
I
Was it
forget.
70s?
it was and it was a fuck
Okay.
up like psychedelic movie. Most
Yeah,
of
that
it is
was
just
around
boring.
the time of the moon landing, I believe.
Okay, so it might be that one then, because the only other examples I'm thinking of, obviously Terminator, Skynet.
Yes,
That
Terminator was
that
another
a big
great one. Yes.
And what was the game with something game? War Games. What's the one with the?
But even War Games was that was Matthew Broderick,
Broderick.
On a computer.
He played Super Mario, right? Matthew Broderick.
What?
Just
That
continue.
shit threw me way the fuck off. I'm like, what? No,
That's what I do.
I'm
That's what I do.
still apologizing
I'm thinking of
Dustin
the-
Hoffman about
I'm,
that.
I'm,
Dustin
I'm
Hoffman
trying
was
to
not in the
avoid
Mario
the
movie.
person that he ran over, and we're acting like nothing happened. It's Hollywood.
Oh my god.
But yeah, that
Goddamn.
was like early internet is really what they were tapping into with that.
Right.
The problems with putting everything online is everything has access from any terminal, which is how hacking works nowadays.
Right.
But
Kind
I
of
think-
too late to back out of it now. It's kind of
yeah, well,
Yeah.
I've
Once
s-
you let the genie out of the bottle, people don't want to give shit
No.
back.
I've said it before. If you can have everything online, but you don't need it to be manipulatable. You can have it where you can just monitor, and if something's wrong, you got to go there physically in person. But if you can have it manipulatable online, that's when anybody from anywhere in the world can start fucking with your meat factory plant, your water treatment plant. That's all what that
Yeah,
was.
I
If
hate
you-
when people start fucking with my meat. You know.
Oh man, that's the worst.
But I think Space Odyssey might be the first one where you have
that the German lady?
fear of AI.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then it just got incrementally worse. Yeah, cut the feet. No, but yeah, you deal with Terminators was probably more of a realistic like war machine. Like, you know, it's like it's taking over the system.
Like-
it's creating these robots that are like, you
We-
are
we
inferior.
created it.
We are fucking
Yeah, we created it as soon as they put it online. It was like, fuck you, you're
And,
obsolete.
I mean, those Boston Dynamic robots are getting real good.
Yeah.
They are running on a routine that's planned.
I've
but-
seen them.
is it
I've seen
wrong that I'm waiting for the first like scientist at Boston Dynamics beaten to death by a new prototype? Like,
Well, I mean,
am
they
I
are
a bad person?
No, because they are kicking and
Yeah.
punching and hitting these things.
It's a
with
matter of
bats.
time.
Yeah,
it's a matter of time before the robot just goes.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? I can hit you back, bitch.
Listen, one backflip, that's a lot of rotational
You know?
momentum. You know what I mean?
Some Island of Dr. Moreau shit. You know, the robot just goes, pain no more.
it's a forgotten movie that dealt with AI in a great way. Was iRobot with Will Smith?
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
another sick approach to AI and how we
That crazy Scientologist.
had a sneeze there.
Is he a Scientologist?
I think he is, man. I think him and John Travolta
I
led
know
the
John.
lead.
I know John Travolta is.
Someone can
No,
Google it.
I don't know if there are any Scientologists in Bel Air.
Oh man, we're on
I had
it.
to do it. I had to do it.
I'm gonna use my AI search engine to find out whether or not.
All right. So while he's looking for that, I think let me ask you this: if you had to choose one character in sci-fi that had the most impact in your childhood, like somebody that you either looked up to or feared, but a sci-fi character that if you had to pick one, that's the motherfucker that represents sci-fi for you, who would it be?
Ooh, that represents sci-fi. Jesus.
So Will and Jada Smith have a school for kids for Scientology.
Jeez, they are indoctrinated, sir.
They are Scientology.
Now that is a dark turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Damn, the iRobot got to
You're
him.
not getting any of my taxes.
I mean, if you want to pull a character that kind of represents science fiction, how do you not go to like Jean-Luc Picard?
Okay, all right. I
like
can't
that
disagree
choice.
with that.
I like
Jean-Luc
that choice.
Picard, yeah.
I like that choice.
You know, everything he did on Star Trek, especially when dealing with different cultures, different races, with AI, because Data was the first AI that they're not just saying artificial intelligence.
They fought for his rights.
They're
on
pushing
the
him
show.
into actual intelligence at
Yeah.
that point. He is a living being.
Yes.
I love how he was always so soft spoken, but like when it came down to it, the one episode, like you think of Worf.
Oh, he was a bad
Yeah.
motherfucker.
You think of Worf.
Yep.
Like angry ass Klingon with a nutsack on his forehead. Like you think the way he acts, like you're like that's the badass on the
Yeah.
ship. I remember in the one
Yeah.
episode, Data just tooled him. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah.
beat the ever loving
Oh,
yeah.
snot out of Worf.
And
And,
just-
I was like,
What,
oh,
With no problem.
one of the great ones with Data
Yes.
is when he was captain.
Yes.
When he had to step into the role of actually being in charge, and he has that character change where he's not the assistant on the ship.
Yep.
He's the one in charge. And now the way he talks to everyone is ever so slightly different, where it's not can you, it's you go do that.
Yeah.
You go even
And
when
then
he,
like, how dare you second guess me?
At-
I am the captain.
even when he's dealing with Worf, where he's like, listen, no. On the bridge, I give you the command. You're second in charge. You do what I tell
Yep.
you. You got a complaint, we go over there and we talk privately. You don't back talk
yeah.
me in the middle of the
He
fucking
did the same
shit.
thing to the engineer who wasn't listening to
Yeah.
him. He's like, no, I've been an engineer forever. He's like, bitch, I'm captain.
Yeah.
I mean, in a nicer way.
of course.
Yeah, in a much nicer way.
But yeah, my pick, Jean-Luc Picard. If you're picking the person that embodies sci-fi,
right.
in the way that I enjoy it, that's him.
All right. For me, because I'm gonna jump ahead of Ian here because I know he's
okay.
probably
It's all
gonna
right.
he's probably gonna steal, he's gonna steal mine. He's gonna steal mine. I'm gonna go to the dark side.
The guy from Firefly.
I'm gonna go to the no. I'm not gonna say Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly. Great show. You should watch it.
Oh.
Going to the dark side of things. I'm gonna go to Darth Vader, part man, part robot. He's got future magic, the Force, the lightsaber. He's people's father. You know, like
He's also People Magazine's voted best villain of all time.
I would have to agree.
Yeah.
He's the most feared man in the galaxy. Like he's on the ship, and like Data, he would firmly talk to you. But like if you were like, but Vader, he's like,
Right?
shut up, bitch! I will strangle you and your 10 children at the same time.
He's a 7-foot tall evil sex toy.
Yeah,
you know?
and the voice, the ladies love that voice. I mean,
Yep.
you can't doubt it.
Yeah,
You
Mufasa.
can't deny it.
That's
Mufasa.
James Earl Jones, I
James Earl
believe.
Jones.
Yeah. He did the 9X Yellow Pages for a while there too, I believe.
He's got the
commercials.
voice for it.
He does.
Not to be mistaken for the Allstate guy, Ian.
Have you ever heard Darth Vader as the voice from the actual actor that was physically playing him?
It's terrible.
Same with C-3PO.
Yes, no, it's
and,
terrible.
and some of the the Wookiee stuff when
Oh, no.
when they're not doing the actual finalized versions of the voices. Oh man, some of them are pretty
Pretty bad.
pretty rough.
But yeah, to sum it up for Darth Vader, man, machine, mysticism, in space, conquering the galaxy, sci-fi. That's my guy right there.
Both of those are really good choices. Okay. Sci-fi, one character?
One
Just
character.
All right. My distant second that I'm going to knock out, both of them are female.
Okay,
So
all right.
the one that I'm going to throw out, Sarah Connor. I could talk about her, but I won't.
Yes.
My go-to is, in my opinion, the greatest female lead in science fiction, and that's Sigourney Weaver in Aliens. Just the fact that it was, for the first time, and I can think of, because Alien precedes Terminator.
Right.
It was the female lead character.
Yeah.
So you have this science fiction, you have this ship in space where you have the captains, the doctors, and then I'm trying to think of what Ripley's job was. She was, I know she operated machinery and stuff like that, but she was some kind of officer on the ship. She held a realm of authority, but she wasn't, the head on the ship. But she just takes charge in the situation.
Yeah. She was believable.
Yes.
Yes.
But she was human too. You could see her weakness. She was, a lot of times she was in trouble. She was getting the shit kicked out of her, and like, all this stuff is happening. People are dying. It's just this sense of fear, and one by one, the crew is being. These big tough guys are just getting ripped apart, and you're like, "Oh fuck!" And then in the end, it's just her and this thing in the dark void of space.
Did she save a kid as well?
Oh yeah, in the second one, she saved a cat in the first one.
Okay.
In the second one, she saved a little girl, Newt.
Fuck that crew. I need that cat.
I don't want a spoiler alert for the third Alien movie, but doesn't
if
make
you haven't
it.
seen it. No, but that's a great pick.
No, yeah,
she was strong and sexy. Like she was like she didn't lose any of her feminism playing a strong role, and she was killer.
Now, in real life, I heard that Sigourney Weaver is a bad tipper and a bitch, but that's like, there's nothing we can do about that.
Yo, listen, man. When
Her
you're out in
portrayal of
space
the character.
killing aliens, you can come back to Earth and be a little bit of a bitch.
Okay, well, I guess she earned it. Well, you're right, So, but yeah, so that's my pick, and
I think it's a great one. I think we all got some pretty good picks there. Darth Vader.
I can't go. Both of you had
Sinead O'Connor.
Wow.
Jean-Luc Picard.
Sean Connery.
Arguably the greatest
from
Irish
First Night.
singer of all time. How can you do that to her? Conor McGregor's walkout. Are you serious?
But I think that's dope, man. I think that's a great way to end the episode. So, Eddie, cue the music.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us at the Sofa Kingdom podcast. You can find us on all your social media platforms.
Sofa Kingdom OFC.
You can find us on YouTube at
Sofa Kingdom Podcast.
Don't forget to check us out. Like, subscribe, share, tell your friends.
Little effort on your part makes a big difference.
Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, all the places you can get your podcast.
That's right. Even Christ Fellowship. Okay, that last one was a lie. Good shit, guys. Good shit. I was trying so hard not to sneeze. All episode.
I can hear you over here. I was trying to draw attention to it.
Oh, man, I was trying to pull my face away from the microphone.
I was over here. Yeah. I was over here looking at Ed, and I could hear us like.
Oh, you're trying, man.
That's why I like this one.
I was like, one of the
just
Jawas from Star Wars is next to me.
My allergies.
Yeah,
I sat down and all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my god, I'm fucking congested like a motherfucker.